the Jedi of Believe, and you're here in the office of the Always Believe House. Oh, today you're going to take another huge step into adulthood. Basically, you're starting the arithmetic of higher level math here. What we do today is going to transform what you do with math and arithmetic. This is the foundation of a lot of higher level math here. We're going to multiply polynomials. And it is going to be F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. So a magical whiteboard appears and you have your assignment and it says polynomials multiply. The last lesson we added and subtracted polynomials. Today we're going to multiply. Now then, I'm going to show you what's going to happen here. Okay? Because you've never ever done this before, okay? So let's write down 12 times, and let's do 23. 12 times 23. Write that down. How did you learn how to do that? I think in 4th grade. Okay, you did 3 times 2, you got 6. You did 3 times 1, you got 3. And what went under the 6? That's right, you put a placeholder, you put a 0, right? Then you started multiplying by the 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and then 2 times 1 is 2, right? And then you drew a bar, and you went straight down and added, and you got a 2, a 7, and a 6. So 276, right? Okay. Imagine if you had 1x plus 2 times 2x plus 3. Okay? Notice my 1 and 2 are right here, and my 2 and 3 are right here, right? Everyone see that? We're going to multiply this the same way you did numbers. Nothing has changed from the 4th grade. So I'm going to start with the 3, and 3 times 2 is plus 6. That plus 6 doesn't change, does it? But now when I multiply 3 times 1, I got to do 3 times 1x. 3 times 1x is 3x. Okay? Now then, go back to 4th grade. What goes under the 6? A 0. Now I'm going to start multiplying by 2x. So 2x times 2 is 4x. And 2x times 1x is going to be a plus 2x squared. Notice you need to put sign, number, letter every single time. Notice that the numbers are exactly the same. 3, 6, 2, 4. 3, 6, 2, 4. I'm going to go straight down and add. And I'm going to get 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. So instead of 276, I now get 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. When you do this assignment, you're going to get a number with an x squared, a number and an x, and then a constant. Okay? That's what your answers are going to look like. Now then, if I were to make the worksheet, it would always be x because eventually this will turn into the x-axis and the y-axis, okay? This is what's going to happen when we start graphing what's called a quadratic, which is what your answers actually are. Now then, I'm going to show you the way I want you to multiply these, okay? This is how I want you to multiply it, and it's called the full. Okay, so we're going to multiply our first terms, our outside terms, our inside terms, and our last term. Okay, and you're going to see how that works here, okay? This is the easiest way to do it, is to use the full. So let's write down your problem is going to look like x plus 2 times 2x plus 3. Okay, we know that this answer is going to be 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. Let's look at how we get it. Let's look at the f. To get the f, how did I get, let me look up here, how did I get this 2x squared? To get the 2x squared, I multiplied the 1x and the 2x, right? Which is my first terms in it. Okay, so I'm going to skip up. First off, to do this, draw upside down rainbow arches and make it a little bit bigger. If you're on notebook paper, make each of these about a line. So you're going to draw an upside down rainbow arch. Now then, draw 3 dashes. This is going to be the first, the outside, the inside, and the last. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute, okay? So let's go through this. X times 2x is 2x squared. Now then, let's do the arches. So the x is connected to the 3. I'm going to multiply x and 3, and I'm going to get my 3x. Notice that 3x is right here in it. Then I'm going to multiply 2 times 2x and get 4x. Notice the 4x is right here. Since the 3x and 4x are both positive, I'm going to add them up, and I'm going to get a plus 7x. And then lastly, this L, how did I get the 6? How did I get this 6 right here? I multiplied the 2 and the 3. The 2 and the 3 are here and here. Those are my last terms. So 2 times 3 is a positive 6. Okay, that's the first time you've ever seen this. So it's going to start clicking, okay? This isn't that hard. You're doing sign, number, letter, exponent, and the numbers are real small. The arithmetic will be easy. Okay, I'm going to do one more for you. We're going to do the full. Let's do 2x plus 5 times x, and let's do a minus here so you can see the difference, minus 2. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in, write down 2x plus 5 times x minus 2, and we're going to do the full. So the first thing you want to do is draw your arches, then draw 3 blanks, and then in the first blank I'm going to multiply my first terms. My first terms are the 2x and the x, right? 2x times 1x is 2x squared. Remember, your answer will be something x squared, something x, and a number. Now then, kind of easier to do the last term next. What's 5 times negative 2? 5 times negative 2 is a negative 10. Now I'm going to worry about my arches. Okay, so let's do the outside arch. What's a positive 2x times a negative 2? It's a negative 4x. Make sure you put sign, number, letter. What's a positive 5 times a positive x? It's a plus 5x. Now then, to get that middle term, I'm going to do the outside plus the inside. 5x plus a negative 4x. 5 minus 4 is a positive 1 in it. I'm going to put plus, and I don't put the 1, so it's just going to be plus x. So 2x squared plus x minus 10 is going to be that product. Remember, you're multiplying 2 binomials, and you're going to get a trinomial. A binomial has 2 terms, and a trinomial has 3 terms. You just learned that. Probably the first time you've ever seen that. And we're multiplying 2 binomials, we're going to get a trinomial, okay? That's basically what you're doing here. Learn a lot of vocabulary. And all of these are called polynomials. And remember, when you write your answer, you put it in order from the biggest exponent to the smallest. Now then, don't panic. You've done this twice. This will click. The arithmetic is not that hard. Let's go up and start working through the odds, okay? So let's do number 1. First thing you want to do is draw your arches, and then draw 3 blanks. Okay, remember, it's going to be first, outside plus inside, and last, right? F-O-I-L, full. What are my first terms? My first terms are 4R and 3R. So we're going to do 4R times 3R. 4 times 3 is 12. My letters are my exponents 2. Sign, number, letter, exponent. Now then we're going to multiply. Let's do the last terms. 5 times 4, a positive 5 times a positive 4 is a plus 20. That's my last term. Now then I'm going to do the arches. So let's do the outside arch. 4R times 4 is going to be a plus 16R. I would put the sign, number, letter because you may have to subtract. Now then a positive 5 times a positive 3 is a plus 15R. Okay, now then we're going to do 15 plus 16, which is a plus 31R. That's my answer. Very, very simple. So basically you're multiplying 4 times and then you add those arch numbers. Multiply 4 times, add the arch numbers. Let's do another one. Okay, draw your arches. Draw the 3 blanks. Now then you're going to multiply the first terms, the last term, and then you're going to add the outside and the inside, right? Okay, so 2x times x is 2x squared, right? So we're going to put down 2x squared. Now then I'm going to skip over and get my last term. So a positive 1 times a positive 4 will be a plus 4. Now then I'm going to go through and get my arches. So 2x times 4 would be a plus 8x. 1 times x would be a plus 1x. So what's 1x plus 8x? 1x plus 8x is plus 9x. You got to realize where that middle term comes from. That middle term comes from the outside times the inside, the same way you multiply 2-digit numbers, okay? If you look up at that first example, we're doing it the same way, but we're shortcutting that and using what's called the full method. Let's keep going. Okay, on this one we have a positive times a negative, so in that middle we're going to subtract. So first thing you're going to do is draw the arches. Make sure you draw the arches big enough where you can put numbers, okay? Then draw your 3 blanks. Now then, we're going to multiply the first terms and the last terms. So what's 2n times 3n? 2 times 3 is 6. The letter is n. The exponent's 2. Most of the time it's going to be an x squared, an x, and a number. Now then, what's a positive 1 times a negative 1? A positive 1 times a negative 1 is a negative 1 in it. Now then, we're going to multiply the outside and the inside. So the outside is 2n times negative 1, which will be a negative 2n. The inside will be 3 times 1, which will be a plus 3n. I'm going to do 3n minus 2n. Since you got more 3's, it's positive and you'll subtract, right? You don't just put plus 1n, you're just going to put plus n, right? You won't put the 1, will you? So 6n squared plus n minus 1 is the answer. You're multiplying the first terms, multiplying the last terms, multiplying your arches, then you add or subtract. That's all you're doing. Let's go to number 7. 2x minus 2 times 2x minus 4. If the more negatives you have in there, it makes it harder because you've got to get every single sign, number, letter right. So let's draw our 2 arches. Draw your 3 blanks. Now then we're going to get the first terms and the last terms. So someone tell me what 2x times 2x is. 2x times 2x is correct. It's 4x squared. Sign, number, letter, exponent. Now then we're going to do a negative 2 times a negative 4. A negative 2 times a negative 4. 2 negatives makes a positive, and 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, so I multiplied my first terms, I multiplied my last terms, right? Now we're going to go through and multiply our arches. So positive 2 times negative 4 is a negative 8x. A negative 2 times a positive 2 is a negative 4x. Now then we're going to group. On this one right here, negative 4 minus 8. If you need to, use a calculator. You got more 8's, so the sign's negative, and I'm going to add these up because the signs are the same and get 12, and my letter is x. 4x squared minus 12x plus 8 will be your answer. Ho, 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 ho. F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. This should start clicking by now. This should start clicking. You're multiplying, 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 then you're going to add or subtract. Multiply, 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 add or subtract. That's what you're doing. And let's go to number 11. The negatives are a little bit harder to work with, okay? So we're going to draw our arches. Oh, ho, 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 ho. If you won't, draw your 3 blanks. Don't have to draw the blanks now if you're getting this, okay? So we're going to multiply the first terms, right? Someone tell me what 4x times 2x is. 4x times 2x is 8x squared. Y'all don't realize how important what you're doing right now is, okay? This is the first steps of your higher level math for those that are going into engineering. Okay, a positive 3 times a negative 4. A positive 3 times a negative 4 is a negative 12, right? Now then I'm going to go through and get my arches. So a 4 times a negative 4 is a negative 16x. A 3 times a 2 is a plus 6x. Notice I'm putting the signs on both of them. Now then, I got more 16s than 6's, right? So the sign will be negative, and I'm not going to add these because the signs are different. I'm going to subtract, and I'm going to get 10x. So 8x squared minus 10x minus 12, right? Let's keep going. We're going to do 15 together, and then we're going to get to the harder ones, okay? Okay, so on number 15, draw your arches. Okay, if you need to, draw the 3 blanks. And then we're going to multiply. What's 5n times 2n? 5n times 2n is a plus 10n squared. And you don't put the plus at the beginning, do you? Now then, multiply your last term. A negative 2 times a positive 1 is a negative 1, or negative 2, right? So I did 5n times 2n, I got 10n squared. Negative 2 times a positive 1 is a negative 2. Now that I'm going to do my arches. So 5n times plus 1 is a plus 5n. A negative 2 times a positive 2 is a negative 4n. What do I have more of? Do I have more 5s or more 4s? I got more 5s, don't I? So I'm going to go to positive. 4 away from 5 is 1. I don't put the 1 and my letter is N. This is the answer. Ho, 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 ho. F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. Now then on the next one, this is when this gets hard, okay? You have a trinomial times a binomial. This is going to give you a 4-term. It's going to give you a polynomial. It is a lot of work, okay? The easiest way to do this is like you multiplied at the very beginning, okay? I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. So write down n squared minus 8n plus 8, and then write down 6n plus 2 and draw a bar. Now then, we're going to multiply this the same way you learned how to do in elementary. Okay, and we're going to do sign, number, letter, exponent. What's a positive 2 times a positive 8? It's a plus 16, right? What's a positive 2 times a negative 8? It's a negative 16 and my letter's N. Sign, number, letter. What's a positive 2 times an N squared? A plus 2N squared. I can put the plus there if I want. So sign, number, letter, exponent, right? Now then, what goes under the 16? You put a placeholder, put a 0. Now then, I'm going to start multiplying by the 6n. 6n times 8 is a positive. 6 times 8 is 48. My letter's N. Sign, number, letter. Now then, I'm going to do 6n times negative 8n. A positive times a negative is a negative. 6 times 8 is 48. My letter is N, and N times N is N squared. So notice these exponents, these like terms are lining up. That's why it's really good to do it this way. And then lastly, 6n times n squared is 6n cubed. Draw a bar, and I'm going to go straight down and add or subtract. So the 16 drops. Negative 16 plus 48. If you want to, punch that into the calculator. Notice I have more 48, so it's going to be positive. The signs are different. 16 away from 48 is 32, and the letter is N. If this is confusing, it's because it's a lot of steps. So y'all, it's so confusing. It's just a lot of steps. All this is multiplying and adding and subtracting 6th grade integer work. It's just steppy. It's a lot of steps, but you can do it. Let's go to the n squares. What do you have more of, 48s or 2s? You got more 48s, the negative drops. You're going to subtract because the signs are different. 2 away from 48 is 46. My letter is N, my exponent's 2. And then I'm going to drop 6n cubed. That's my answer. Notice my answer has a cube, right? This is called a polynomial. So I multiplied a binomial times a trinomial, and 4 more terms is just called a polynomial. Now then, another way to do this, and some of y'all have seen this in biology, it's called the box method. Okay, so draw a 3 by 2 box. Some of y'all are going to recognize this from biology, like I said. So on the top of the box, let's write down n squared minus 8n plus 8. And then down the left side, write down 6n plus 2. So I don't care which way you do this. Some of y'all are going to like the box better. When I multiply, I do this because it's what I did in elementary and it lines up everything. This is going to be the same answer, but the terms are not going to be lined up. You'll see that in a minute. Now then, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply and put the numbers in the box. So this spot right here, I'm going to multiply this and this. So what's 6n times n squared? It's 6n cubed. And I forgot what term y'all use in biology, but y'all did this when you did heredity in biology. Okay, I forgot the name of the term of it, okay? Now then this, I'm going to multiply the negative 8 times the 6n, right? So a positive times a negative is a negative. 6 times 8 is 48. My letter's N, my exponent's 2. Notice it's the same numbers I'm getting on the green ones, right? Let me put these in green so you can see. So this is going to be 6n cubed. This is going to be minus 48n squared. And then a positive 6 times a positive 8 is a plus 48n. Notice those are the same green numbers I have, right? Now then I'm going to go down and multiply, and I'm going to make this in purple so you can see that they're going to match up. A positive 2 times an n squared is a plus 2n squared, which is what I have at the beginning, right? A positive 2 times a negative 8 is a negative 16n. And a positive 2 times a positive 8 is a plus 16. Now then, this is the same numbers I have down what I did before, right? I'm just going to combine like terms. I'm going to go from the biggest exponent to the smallest exponent. So my biggest exponent, and let me put it in blue, my biggest exponent is 6n cubed. So I'm going to push 6n cubed down. My n squares are here and here, right? Negative 48 plus 2 is a minus 46n squared. My n's are here and here. 48 minus 16 is a plus 32n, and then the plus 16 just drops. So on this one here, these two drop, don't they? And you got to combine the middle of the table up. You get the same answer. Some people like the table, some people like the multiply elementary way, okay? I'm going to do two more, one, and I'm going to do them both ways, okay? So on this one right here, let's do the elementary multiply way. F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. So write down 7x squared plus 6x plus 6, and then write down 7x plus 4. Just letting you know, this is the most multi-step thing you'll do with polynomials. You won't go above this. In Algebra 1, we really won't do a trinomial times a trinomial, okay? This is it. This is as much arithmetic as you'll have. And it's not that hard because the numbers will stay small. There's really no double digit times double digit multiplying. It's going to stay pretty small. Now then, let's go through and get these answers. Okay. 4 times 6 is plus 24. 4 times 6 is plus 24x, right? 4 times 7x squared is a plus 28x squared. So all I did is multiply 7, 6, and 6 by 4. Now that I'm going to put a 0 down, and I'm going to take the 7x and multiply it by 7, 6, and 6. So 7x times 6 is a plus 42x. 7x times 6x is a plus 42x squared. And 7x times 7x squared is a 49x cubed. And I should have done this in a different color. Let me go over it again and do that in a different color. So 7x, I put a 0. 7x times 6 is plus 42x. 7x times 6x is a plus 42x squared. And then 7x times 7x squared is a 49x cubed. If I were to do the box, those would be the same numbers in the box. Now then, let's go straight down and add. Okay, so the 24 drops. Notice if you do it this way, everything's lined up. The 24 and the 42 are going to add up because they're both positive, plus 46x. The 28 and the 42 will add up because they're both positive. Did I do that right? Yes. So 28 plus 42 is 60, 70 plus 70x squared. And then the 49x cubed drops. So this is my answer. This is what, eventually you will graph these in Algebra 2, okay? In Algebra 1, we're just learning how to multiply all these. And lastly, let's do 21, and let's make a box on 21. Okay, so on 21, we're going to draw a box, and let me make the box red. So we're going to draw a 3 by 2 box. I'm going to put 8x squared plus 2x minus 2, and then 8x minus 3. Now then, I'm going to go through and multiply, right? So 8x times 8x squared would be a plus 64x cubed. Sign, number, letter, exponent. 8x times 2x would be a positive. 8 times 2 is 16. My letter is x. My exponent's 2. Sign, number, letter, exponent. A positive times a negative is a negative. 8 times 2 is 16. My letter is x. So I just multiplied that 8x. I distributed it, right? I bluebell trucked it. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the negative 3. Let me change colors. What's negative 3 times positive 8? It's a negative 24. My letter is x. My exponent's 2. Sign, number, letter, exponent. A negative times a positive is a negative. 3 times 2 is 6. My letter is x. Sign, number, letter. A negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 2 is 6. I don't have a letter, do I? If one sign or one number is wrong, the whole thing's wrong. You got to get every single sign number right. Okay? Lastly, we're going to group up, right? And remember, when you do the box, this is going to drop. Then you're going to group your x squares. Negative 24 plus 16. You have more 24s than 16s, so the negative drops. And you're going to subtract 16 away from 24 is 8. My letter is x, my exponent's 2. Now then I'm going to go to the next spot. I got negative 6 and negative 16. I got more 16s and 6s. The 16's negative, so the negative drops. They're both negative. I'm not going to subtract. I'm going to add. You better be able to do 6th grade integer arithmetic. Negative 6 minus 16 is a 6th grade integer problem. And it's negative 22, and I'm going to add an x. And then lastly, this part of the box will drop. So I have this answer. Okay? Now then, go through and finish the evens. The key is in Canvas. And remember, on 20, 22, and 24, and 18, you can do it either way. You can use the box or the multiply way. Either way works. Just make sure you get every single sign number right. This is a big step. You've never done this before. If you don't understand, go back and watch the video again. This isn't hard. It is steppy. And remember, you're doing sign, number, letter, exponent. You're just doing 6th grade integers, but you're adding the letters and the exponents. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Remember, you are amazing. You are created to do wonderful things, and you are awesome.